Hey, what's up everybody? How are you doing? Welcome back to another edition of Bigfoot Fridays. I am your host, Robert Anthony, here at Rob the RV Guy. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing a standard residential 10 cubic foot refrigerator inside of the Bigfoot 2500 series that we own. I wanted to come on the front side of this video and just let you know how it's going to go throughout the process, because there's some important information you need before we get into this. At the front side, we're going to be doing the unboxing, talking a little bit about why I'm choosing to go with the residential refrigerator in the unit as opposed to the absorption refrigerator that was installed at the factory. We're going to show you a little bit of the process of doing the install, well, a lot of the process of doing the install, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have some final comments at the end, kind of buttoning it all up nicely. There will be kind of an addendum at the end. After about a week of having the refrigerator installed, I had some final comments, and those are probably the most important part of this video if you're here considering installing a residential style refrigerator in your RV. So be sure to check that out at the end. I'll have markers all throughout the video that will show you where these different sections are, so you can fast forward to those if you want to. With that introduction, let's get into the install of the Insignia 10 cubic foot stainless steel refrigerator in the Bigfoot 25 RQ, home of yours truly. Thanks for stopping by. Well, this video doesn't necessarily pertain exclusively to the Bigfoot RV or to the Bigfoot community. I just happen to own a Bigfoot 25 RQ, so we're going to address it from that perspective. Bigfoot 25 RQ comes with a Dometic 7 cubic foot or 7.2 or 7.4 cubic foot propane electric refrigerator, what's called an absorption refrigerator. Absorption refrigerators are okay for short camping weekends or even a week on the road, but for us, because we live on the road full time, the cubic feet in this particular refrigerator do not work out well for us. Not only that, but the way an absorption refrigerator works does not work out for us very well either. As an example, when we took this RV from the folks that we bought it from, we had the refrigerator on for a couple of days, so it was pretty cold. It was running at about 38 degrees, which is its set point. And we went to the grocery store and we filled the refrigerator up. It went up to 60 degrees overnight, and it took it another day to get back, a day and then some, to get back to the 38 degree operating temperature. Well, that is totally unacceptable as it relates to spoilage, freezing. There are a lot of disadvantages to an absorption refrigerator. Yes, you can run them off of propane or electric. You can do both of those, but they take forever to cool down. So today we're going to be installing an Insignia, a Best Buy brand refrigerator that I found. It's a 10 cubic foot model and has very high reviews. I will put a link in the description below for this refrigerator if this all works. Now what I've done is I've looked in the manual with regard to the space requirements for the cabinet that this refrigerator is going to go in for the Dometic that's installed in the Dometic manual that I have my hands on. And that manual, the opening, the rough opening, and the cabinet size that the Bigfoot company in manufacturing this cabinet had cut out is almost an exact match for this refrigerator. I am taking a big risk here, I'm going to admit that. So if you're choosing to do this, just make sure that you double and triple check your measurements of your cabinetry, make sure that it's going to fit. They're all pretty much the same size with regard to the RV refrigerators, but with this particular one, it is a residential model. You want to double check and triple check. Now the reason that I'm not going with a DC refrigerator is because that's made for an RV, is we had a DC refrigerator, we had a GE DC refrigerator in our Winnebago Micro Mini. I was not impressed with its quality. It froze a lot of our food. It had cold spots in it. It didn't circulate air very well, and it did have a pretty significant draw on the battery. It would regularly draw between 170 and 190 watts while it was running. So that was a huge draw on the battery as far as draining the battery goes. This one right here, even though I'll have the inverter on, will draw actually less wattage to run than the DC refrigerator did. So, in doing the math, I felt, okay, so we're going to have the inverter on all the time to run the alternating current, the 110 side of the house, but we're still going to be drawing less watts with this. And this refrigerator was a third, if not a quarter, of the price of a DC 12-volt refrigerator. Yes, they're not built for inside the RV, but if this lasts me for 4 years or 3 years, bouncing around in there and everything else, I can buy this 4 times before I have reached what it would cost me to buy a DC refrigerator. And the reviews on the DC refrigerators that I've seen out there are not very good. They don't last, they break down. So honestly, you know, I'm going to take a chance on the residential, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that throughout the process. So with that intro, let's get into the install. When I was a kid, one of my favorite things in the world was the refrigerator or dryer boxes. Boy, was it fun having. Made a good fort. We're gonna have to switch the doors around. I'm not gonna take any of the tape off on the inside. Ah, there it is, right there. So I've been thinking about a couple of ideas that I have with regard to getting a lock in here so that we can keep it shut while we're traveling, and I jerry-rig or come up with a means by which to latch it. So that's exciting. That's good. That's going to be real good. All right, so next up, empty the fridge. Is it empty? What's the bottom look like? Empty? All right, are those empty? Oh boy. Apples. Yeah, take them out. All right, now we got to pull it out. Okay, pull it out, Joelle. I was thinking of taking the doors off, but should be fun. Yeah. And I think what I'm going to do, I'll go push it from the outside. Okay, I'm on the outside now. I'm glad I came out here for 2 reasons. One, this DC power needs to be disconnected and we have to cap that off. That's number one. The propane is capped off right here, and I have leak tested it, so there were no bubbles, and that's good. And I'm glad I came out here because there's that guy. I'll tell you, there are a lot of creepy crawlies in Texas. Holy smokers. All right, let's get all this stuff disconnected so I can pull it out. Gonna need your help. So we're gonna just, ow, whoa, is it hot? Holy Moses. You're gonna want your gloves. It is super duper hot. So I'll take the bottom because it's a heavier end, so you just have to walk backwards. Holy cow, is this lighter. All right, set it up straight. Okay, now we gotta walk it back. Okay, now we gotta get it up in there. We don't want to pinch the cord. I think we can lift it straight up. We don't want to push it all the way in because I still have to put the hinges on. Now go outside and pull the cord so it doesn't get pinched in there, please. Okay, come on in. Okay. Well, so far we're doing pretty darn good. I'm going to drill a couple of holes, and I'm going to then secure this to the base of the trailer here. It's almost an exact match as far as the sizing goes. In my unit up to the left up here, I had a box that had wires running through it. I actually had to move that. We have a rubber washer on top, see? So I have a rubber exercise mat sitting on top of a 1/4 inch or so, maybe 3/8 inch piece of styrofoam. That's what I needed to level it on the inside. This will be the bracket that'll go on top of the fridge that will JB weld to the top, and then we'll screw it through. So at the end of the day, what we ended up doing is I, of course, took that aluminum L bracket, and as I said, I JB welded it to the top. I didn't screw into the top of the refrigerator. I'm hesitant to screw into any of the panels on the sides of the front of the refrigerator because there is a chance that there's a gas line, a Freon line running through any portion of that part of the frame of the refrigerator, and you puncture that and you wreck the refrigerator. So I use JB Weld, which provides a very solid connection on that, and screwed it to the top. That provided a brace to the top. I mangled up the bottom underneath the refrigerator, both putting it in and pulling it out, So I like an industrial look. I took the rest of the aluminum channel, put it along the bottom there. I put a couple of self-tapping screws through the feet into the floor, and as you recall, we braced the back with screws down through the frame of the refrigerator as well. So she's in there as solid as she can go. In my install, it did require some modifications on the inside. Toward the back side of the frame, there was a little bit of wood sticking out that I had to remove. To get it to slide in the way that it was supposed to, I needed to shave about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch off of that. So I just pulled that framing out. Gave me a good opportunity to run the wiring in preparation for the 1200 watts of solar that we're going to put on this Bigfoot, which I was able to do. But overall, I am very pleased with the way that this refrigeration installation went, and Joel and I both are very happy with how much more room this gives to us. I did pull a power draw on this. I'm drawing about 150 to 160 watts, maybe 170. It's a great refrigerator. Plus, in the standard residential refrigerator, unlike the DC model, which is a gravity-cooled machine, there's a cooling fan that circulates the air like a regular household refrigerator from the freezer to the refrigerator. It moves that air around constantly, so we're not going to have a bunch of freezing spots like we did in our GE DC 12-volt refrigerator. Very disappointing on the performance on that particular refrigerator. So hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope that you found the residential refrigerator installation in our RV to be informative and helpful. I've got one final comment that I want to make, and this is probably the most important thing that I'm going to mention. I actually covered up the vent stack from the old absorption refrigerator, as well as the vents on the bottom side that allow for airflow around the back of that cabinet. And this is something that I learned after we had installed it, and it's been in for about a week now. It's working beautifully as it relates to keeping things frozen and keeping things cold. However, and this is very critical to your installation, ultimately I decided to uncover the top vent and one of the bottom vents to allow airflow into that cabinetry where that refrigerator is installed. I was able to deduce and figure out that these refrigerators, or this particular refrigerator that I put in, actually releases some of the heat that it's displacing out of the refrigerator out the sides through a series of, not vents, but it's how it pushes the heat out through the sides of the aluminum casing. That makes the inside of that cabinet very hot. So what I decided to do was open up the top vent like it used to be, and open up some of the bottom vent to allow some cross flow air to get in there. I think it was just going to get too hot inside of that cabinet, especially right now in 100-degree weather in Texas. So I'll revisit that in the wintertime, but I think overall it's going to be better for the unit to have airflow in that cabinet. I'm not convinced that these units are designed to be put inside of an enclosed cabinet. I would encourage you, if you're going to do this, get some venting back there. Even in the old days with our DC refrigerator, that also ran hot inside that cabinet. So I recommend doing some venting. Not sure if that's the right course of action, but that's what we're doing. And I feel much better about the fact that the case is not as hot as it was post vent removal, vent cover removal. So if you found this video helpful, please give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. And as we close out, this video right here is a video that YouTube thinks that you want to see next. This playlist here is all things RV modifications that I hope you'll find helpful. And of course, if you click the circle, you're subscribed. I'd love to have you on board. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one. Rob out.